Sugar actually is an addiction. We know the impact that it has on the body. And let's kind of go through the really big ones that we see for skin issues.
That cell turnover, dead-looking skin, the non-healthy, the non-glow, and even clogged pores, because there is going to be an inflammatory trigger, or in our world, we call it inflammatory breakouts.
Sugar is a massive culprit for contributing to that chronic low-grade inflammation in your body that is going to be showing up in your skin as redness, swelling, persistent acne, and even symptoms that don't have to deal with your skin. Like when we're dealing with inflammation, it can be impacting our joint pain, our headaches, our mood, our brain fog. It really has like a cascading effect on the body.
You're going to notice that because your skin is going to heal slower. Inflammation is pain, heat, redness, swelling. What is acne? Acne is inflammation. Sugar. It's sweet, sneaky, and silently sabotaging our skin.
And our health in general.
Absolutely. Could they be throwing off hormones? Could they be inflaming the gut? Could they be draining minerals? In essence, what does your skin need to self-heal? So if you've ever noticed an acne flare-up after dessert or, after the breakup, after absolutely anything, or it feels like we're addicted to stuff, you're going to want to hear this, because we're not just going to go and bash everything. We're going to break it all down so that you can stop guessing and start connecting those dots, because really what we do here is try and realign skin.
And if you didn't listen to last week's episode, this is part 2 in a 2-parter series. So last week we talked about gluten and dairy. So after this, if you haven't listened to it, we wanted to do the most inflammatory ingredients that we see for our clients inside the Clear Skin solution. Let's really lay out what is refined sugar, because we often get questions like, can I still eat fruit because it has a lot of sugar in it? Can I eat honey? Can I eat molasses? Can I eat white sugar? Can I eat brown sugar? Let's talk about what is refined sugar and then where we're going to be finding it.
And especially common hidden sugars.
Sugar, I would say, is the devil, because it is in literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah. Sugar, it hides in everything. So yes, sugar is in that strawberry. Yes, it's in the blueberry. The difference is combined with fiber. It's combined with the other nutrients and properties to make that a whole complement. What refined sugar is it's been manipulated and processed in a plant and then packaged. You're going to see that in an ingredient list. I always teach people whole foods, not the culprit. Yeah, can we overdo dates? 100%. However, variety, rotation, moderation, always, everyone. It's not about that. It's about the processed, refined, the sneaky little devils that get put into your food, because if they didn't have it, I guarantee you wouldn't buy it. I know when women come into the Clear Skin solution, they feel like their cravings are running the show. It's like, they're like, I can't help it. I can't do it, right? And they're like, my skin is paying the price. I just want to let you know right now, you're not alone, right? So there is a craving / skin connection almost, I want to say. So we'll get into that later should we have time, because it all links back to those breakouts.
And we're talking about like the white sugars, the brown sugars, the high fructose corn syrups, and they go by sneaky names, right, Cris? Like, I would actually recommend, after you listen to this, go and Google the list of names for sugar, because there are dozens.
I have some here.
You want to read some? Because there's dozens, like dozens and dozens and dozens.
I know, well, I also teach this, so I know 20 off the top of my head, guaranteed. So we have cane sugar, we have corn syrup, we have high fructose corn syrup. No, they are not the same. We have brown rice syrup, I can talk, tapioca syrup, agave, so agave, or you'll see it as agave nectar, evaporated cane sugar, fruit juice concentrate. That's a big one hidden in a lot of kids' stuff. Then we have the actual oses. So we have dextrose, glucose, fructose, sucrose, maltose, lactose. Then we get into the malts, so like the gluten-like sugars too. We can have malt syrup, barley malt, molasses, honey, maple syrup, coconut sugar, raw sugar, inverted sugar, beet sugar. Oh, there's alcohol sugars. There's date, there's golden syrup,
sucanat, yellow sugar, icing sugar, confectioner sugar. Also get like the cane juice crystals. Like, they get very clever on the names that they call sugar. So don't worry. We're going to talk about not only how it's impacting our body and our health, but how we can still be having that sweetness in our life and what are some natural options. So that way it's not about removing all sweetness, it's about removing the inflammatory components.
And watch when you're reading the labels. If it is OST, ending in OSE, so OSE, it's a sugar. If it's a syrup, it's a sugar. So we already know that even though, it says beet, that sometimes it doesn't say beet sugar, it'll say beet syrup. Don't be fooled, right? So today, start reading the labels and understand what's actually in that sugar. Oh, it says sugar 13 grams. Well, I have a coconut water on my desk, and for 490 mils, there is 23 grams of sugar in this. Let me read you the ingredients: coconut water and pulp, coconut pulp. That's it. Some foods have natural sugars, and that's okay because, again, my coconut water is going to be high in potassium. That's what I'm going for.
Sugar actually is an addiction. We know the impact that it has on the body. And let's kind of go through the really big ones that we see for skin issues, right? So first up, we're going to be seeing a blood sugar roller coaster, where when we're eating this refined sugar, think not just the sugar, like refined sugar itself, but also refined carbohydrates, like the cookies and the sodas and all of those things. Like we're going to be getting the sugar in sweetened yogurt and all of these different places, energy drinks and coffees, like if you're getting it from the coffee house. When our body takes it in, the body quickly digests it, and it actually causes a spike in your blood glucose levels very quickly. And then in response, your pancreas is going to start pumping out insulin, which is a hormone that actually helps shuttle that sugar into your cells. And this is kind of where the trouble begins, because when we have that high insulin levels, it actually triggers an increase in androgens like our testosterone, which we know our acne sufferers know that high androgens, high testosterone is not great for our skin. And more androgens also mean more sebum production. So sebum is going to be that sticky, oily substance that clogs your pores and leads to more breakouts alongside those dead skin cells.
It's also going to add in proliferation, so that cell turnover. So, you know what I mean? Like that dead looking skin, the non-healthy, the non-glow, and even clogged pores, because there is going to be an inflammatory trigger, or in our world, we call it inflammatory breakouts.
Let's move into inflammation. Sugar is a massive culprit for contributing to that chronic low-grade inflammation in your body that is going to be showing up in your skin as redness, swelling, persistent acne, and even symptoms that don't have to deal with your skin. Like when we're dealing with inflammation, it can be impacting our joint pain, our headaches, our mood, our brain fog. It really has like a cascading effect in the body.
Chronic, so long-term, low-grade inflammation, again, that's going to be more reactive. And you're going to notice that because your skin is going to heal slower, right? It's going to excite, or it's going, I don't want to say promote for lack of better words, but like almost like lesions or redness, like you're saying, that swelling or even pain, because inflammation is pain, heat, redness, like these swelling. And what is acne? Acne is inflammation. We have to also look that sugar, again, pro-inflammatory, but again, high glycemic load. And that is a big, big deal. That is your mood, that's your energy, that's your vitality, that's your adrenal health, that's everything. So if you have acne, you're like, it's hormone related. Yeah, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to say, yeah, it could be an insulin cortisol like behavior. It could be adrenals, these types of things, 100%.
Now, I kind of want to keep going on that like slower ability to heal that you mentioned, Cris, because we need to talk about glycation and that collagen breakdown, right? So it's not just about acne, but excess sugar actually binds to proteins like collagen and elastin through a process called glycation. And this is going to form something called AGEs, which is also known as advanced glycation end products, which is not going to be great because it's going to stiffen and weaken collagen. And remember, we want collagen to have that nice, plump, glowing, smooth, youthful skin. If it's weakened, we're going to be having dull, saggy, and aged skin. And it's also going to lead to slower healing of acne scars. So not only triggering breakouts, it's also slowing down our body's ability to heal from them, and aging is quicker. Especially for the bulk of our clients, right? The bulk of our clients are in their 30s and 40s. Of course, we have lots of clients in their 20s, but 30s and 40s. And not only are our clients dealing with acne, they're also now dealing with fine lines and wrinkles, and they're in that anti-aging game, right? So when we look at it, sugar can be a really big culprit for two key skin issues as well. What about gut dysbiosis?
Oh, it's a thing. Yes. Sugar feeds opportunistic bacteria and yeast. So you'll hear Katie and I say all the time, like candida, candidiasis. What that does is it's going to throw off the microbiome balance. And what that results into, again, is that fancy word called leaky gut. So allowing all those endotoxins to enter the circulation, it's going to contribute to systemic inflammation. It's going to increase the burden on the liver, detoxification pathways, impair estrogen clearance, and hormonal imbalance. So again, yes, I will say acne is connected to hormone imbalances, just not what we may think, right?
And when it comes to sugar, like it's feeding that dysbiosis, so the bad bacteria and the bad yeast. And when we're having that imbalance in the microbiome, it's going to be impacting the gut skin axis, right? Because these two organs actually the health of each other interact. And so we're going to be seeing more inflammation, right, with that leaky gut, more breakouts. We're going to see more in food sensitivities. And also, if we take it one step further, there's that immune system component because we know sugar is also going to be depleting your immune system or leading to an impaired function of your immune system, which also plays a key role in acne.
100%. So now, can you see even from last week to this week, when you start compounding the sugars with the milk in the dairy and then the refined sugar on top of that, well, how we're seeing this cascade? This is what happens. Because when I think of sugar, I always go straight to the adrenals and I go to those cortisol spikes. And then disruption in the adrenal balance regulate progesterone. That's going to increase the estrogen dominance. And then that's going to drive up your hormonal instability. So it's not just androgens, everybody. So sugar doesn't play just on that androgen-like production, right? Because we think PCOS, blood sugar regulation. Estrogen has a defined link in with cortisol, and cortisol's released when we consume sugar or too much because it has to come out to negate insulin, which is as Katie explained earlier, right? So blood sugar instability also directly affects ovarian hormone rhythms, further fueling what? Everything you don't want, those breakouts. Visually, you're starting to see the connections as to we're not trying to bastardize something that doesn't need to be done. We're trying to show you that, refined sugar, if we didn't have it, I promise you would not purchase 75% of what is in probably your pantry or your cupboards now.
And like when we pull back to that blood sugar impact, right, where it's not just about your skin, when your blood sugar is sent on that joyride from that spike and that crash of the sugar, we're going to get shaky, we're going to be hangry, we're going to be tired, we're going to be cranky, we're going to be a little more emotional. And when we talk about that sugar crash, right, that we get, it's a very stressful event for the body. Like your body's going to be releasing cortisol, your main stress hormone, and that's going to be really triggering inflammation, worsening our hormonal balance, as Cris said. It's increasing oil production in the skin. And like Cris talked about, it's going to be throwing off estrogen and progesterone balance as well. So we're getting in that loop where we're getting sugar, crash, cortisol, hormone shifts, acne, and then we stress more, and then we have more sugar. And we create this feedback loop and we go around and around and around. And I want to talk on cravings as well, because we often have clients say, my cravings are crazy. Like I need something sweet. And we'll often say, well, what's really interesting is when you have a dysbiosis in your gut, especially a candida feeds on sugary things. Candida is very smart and it sends a signal to your brain to say, hey, feed me more sugar. I'm hungry. Then that triggers you to have a craving to eat more sugar.
Yeah. So think about this. There is something in your body that has the ability to manipulate the way you eat.
Wild.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Because it's a
wild.
living species and it's not about to go down without a fight, right?
What about the impact on sleep? We know we love to talk a little bit about sleep, right? Where if we're having these sugar spikes, especially later in the day, this is going to be disrupting our melatonin, our blood sugar regulation, which is actually going to lead to poor sleep. And when we have poor sleep, higher cortisol, more breakouts.
Exactly. And even if we're doing time restricted eating or different types of things, and we're waking up in the middle of the night, that could be your body saying, no, 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 I don't have enough nutrients in order to not wake you up because now I'm pumping out cortisol because I'm awake and melatonin's I'm asleep hormone. So really, really watch that because again, If we don't have enough sustainable fuels or macronutrients, which could be fiber related as well, not carbohydrates. So we have to watch that. We have to watch how we're balancing it because we can actually throw ourselves into sugar cravings by not sleeping too, because we just need glucose is your very first macronutrient where, the brain's like, oh, okay, I've got energy, let's go. So it will produce it if it needs it.
Sugar can be impacting your insulin sensitivity, which is going to be tied to things like PCOS symptoms, PMS flares, cycle-related breakouts. So it really can have this cascading impact. And we also know there's so much research out there on the impacts of sugar on the brain and cognitive function.
Sugar is going to deplete zinc. So you see why I say don't just go and supplement with zinc now, because it's critical for skin healing, immune function, even your androgen balance. We need vitamin A that's going to regulate your skin turnover. Remember, we were talking about the proliferation. Vitamin A and zinc are also besties. So in order for zinc to be optimal, vitamin A has to be in there. Magnesium. Magnesium, hello, regulates insulin and stress response. We are magnesium deficient as a society. Then there's one, maybe people have heard of it, maybe they haven't. It's called chromium. And that helps balance blood sugar regulation. I mean, there's more, but those are the ones that are just kind of free floating.
So now let's go into a little bit of what can we do instead, because we don't want to get rid of all sweetness in our life. And maybe we can talk about it from like an active acne therapeutic perspective, and then from like a daily, the 80-20 balance. So let's go through, because really watching out for the refined white sugars and the high fructose corn syrups are going to be really great. And instead, reaching for things like a raw honey. And this isn't, that honey in the bee container, because that is a highly pasteurized, highly processed honey that now just acts like sugar in the body. Look for raw honey or unpasteurized honey on the label. This is in normal grocery stores. If you live, where you have access to farmers markets, you're definitely going to be finding it at farmers markets as well. Another option would be maple syrup. This is going to be your pure maple syrup that we get here in Canada, maybe some of the northern states, not that table syrup, which is the high fructose corn syrup. So that would be a better option over refined sugar. Maybe we're looking at, say, a coconut sugar, which is really great to bake with. Medjool dates can be really lovely. What else would you throw on there, Cris?
Monk fruit.
Oh, monk fruit. Make sure it's a pure monk fruit. A lot of monk fruit is cut with erythritol, which is an alcohol sugar, which can cause a lot of digestive distress for a lot of people. So these are going to be some better options that you can be looking out for. And listen, that's not to say you're giving up sugar for the rest of your life. Like, if you're not in an active therapeutic protocol where you're eating specific foods, let's have that 80-20 balance. So for me, like, there's a lovely gluten-free bake shop. I love Kelly's Bake Shop. Shout out to them. Same with Cris. I'm going to go there and there's sugar in the cupcake, but I'm going to get it anyways because I'm having that balance. It's something that I don't do often. So if I'm going out for dinner, I'm not like, hey, is there sugar in that salad dressing? Because there most likely is. I just take that balance. So when I'm at home, I opt for the natural sweeteners. And then if I'm out and about and I feel like having it, I do. I would say I'm more of like a 90-10.
Yeah, watch the sodas, the pops, the added sugars through that, right? Those processed carbohydrates that don't need to be in there, whole food fibers, right? Lower glycemic ones, even if you do struggle with, say, type 2 diabetes, or if there's something specific where you're all over the place. However, don't discount that healthy fats and protein with each meal and your beautiful fiber. That's just that nice stabilizer, right? So we do have lots of options.
And while we're at it, we're not going to be doing the artificial sweeteners. So we're not reaching for the aspartame and the, what's the word I'm looking for, Cris?
Sucralose.
Yes, the Splendas, the sucraloses.
Splenda, yeah.
Those are a no. Those are also a big inflammation city.
One thing I do want to do before we go off the sugar is agave. It's marketed as natural. It is often 80 to 90% fructose. This is more damaging to the liver than table sugar. So please, please, please do your investigation on your sugars because it's a major contributor to the insulin resistance, triglyceride buildup. So triglyceride is part of that cholesterol pathway. Please, we already, there's a lot of information on artificial sugars and alcohols and concentrates and stuff. But agave, I'm seeing it come out more and more and more. And I'm like,
All right, so let's move into refined oils, Cris. Let's talk about what are refined oils.
What it is when they make oils, thing is fats such as oils, lipids, they cannot be around oxygen and light and air. These are no-nos. When it comes to the oils, we have to be very, very careful because now they're going to be oxidated or oxidized. And what that means is when you take it in, create free radicals, which are like excitatories in your body that are like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And then from there, they might not be bioavailable. They're just going to disrupt the minerals. And it's just going to be this big counterpart. So now that no one's probably going to want to touch seed oils after I said this. The other thing I want to say is they are highly genetically modified. I don't like the marketing. So seed oils are marketed as heart healthy. Okay. Seed oils are anything but skin friendly too, I'll tell you. So I would like us to probably expose a little more of the truth of the industrial seed oils like canola, soybean, what do we got? Corn, sunflower.
Even grapeseed oils. And the issue is they are so highly refined because they have high heat processing, which is damaging all of the delicate fatty acids. So those are gone. Then they're using chemical solvents that are going to be used to extract the oil. Then oftentimes they are going to be going through bleaching and deodorizing to make them look and taste appealing. Now you have this delicate little seed that was blasted with heat and a bunch of chemicals, stripped it of all nutrients, and then calls it an oil that's heart healthy. That is refined oil.
When we really decrease the amount of synthetics and or seed oils, processed stuff, then we start to feel really good. And, eating the right fats is one of the easiest ways we can start feeling good.
If there was one thing you changed in your diet, like first, I would almost say refined oils. I would put that at the top of the list of things to start swapping out of. We're often going to find refined seed oils, refined oils in chips, crackers, cookies, like the pre-made salad dressings. Processed. Think literally anything processed. These are going to be in here. Condiments, fried food, frozen meals, even a lot of plant-based products. You'll find this in sometimes organic products. So this is where you really have to read.
I was in the food service industry. So we would have vats of oil in a aluminum tin. It was a olive oil and canola oil together. It was hydrogenated, and what that does is they infuse a chemical into it, like we're saying, like the hexane, because it needs to be shelf stable. And in restaurants, we use these plastic, almost not totally translucent, but like sauce. You've seen them at like sub places or pita places, right? They cut off the tip, and that oil sits in there with the tip cut off. Now it's exposed to light because the container's not dark. It's exposed to air, and they sit it right on top of the heat because what's in a restaurant? Heat. And they just douse it in there and they crank up it with the Teflon pan, and they throw in the veggies, and now Teflon and heat and oil. And before you even had your first bite, your food was already contaminated.
Cris, she just ruined restaurants for everybody listening.
People need to understand this is a big deal to me. Here's the thing. These are now inflammatory fats. These are not only extremely high in omega-6s, but we are already 25 to 1. 25 we consume omega-6s. We have prostaglandin series. So we have your omega. Your prostaglandin 1 is your omega-6. Your prostaglandin 2 is your arachidonic acids, which we talked about last week. And your prostaglandin 3s are your omega-3s. So these are what we consider healthy fats. They are essential fatty acids, which we have to get from our diet.
Because we can't produce them on our own in our body.
Yeah, so an omega-6 would be like linoleic acid. And sometimes we see that in the ingredients. They don't say omega-6, they say linoleic acid, right? Now, we need omega-6s. We're supposed to be consuming omega-6s. In fact, we're supposed to be consuming omega-6s a little bit more than omega-3s to balance the body. The difference is now our omega-3s are 25 to 1. 25% of a ratio to, so we eat 25 pro-inflammatory omega-6s, at this level it is, to 1 omega-3.
Like the ratio that we actually want to be closer to is 3 to 1.
Yeah, I would say 4 to 1. However, these inflammatory fats, they throw off the omega-6 to 3 balance. And what do you need that for? Healthy skin, right? You really do. And because it can oxidize easily, it creates that free radical like I was talking about. It creates that skin damage. And then, of course, your whole body starts to go, I don't know how to deal with this. Okay, what do we do? How do we eliminate it? These are all the things your body's doing to show up for itself. Your hormones are going to be disrupted. The gut's going to be disrupted. Your detoxification pathways are going to be disrupted.
Don't panic and go and throw everything out, because we're going to talk through techniques and tactics and everything as well. But like Cris said, is these high levels of the omega-6s are creating those free radicals, like she mentioned, in the body. Free radicals actually promote disease and aging in the body, including aging of the skin. And we're going to be seeing an increase in inflammation, right? That body-wide inflammation. And remember, chronic inflammation is a core driver of acne as well. And this is how it's showing up in our body.
We absolutely need fats in our diet. 60% of your brain is fat. Your hormones, all 50 plus of them, are fat. Let me just go on a little thing about hormone disruption here for a second. So when we have the inflammation from seed oils, they can increase aromatase. And what that is I like to call it's an enzyme, but it's like a little snakes and ladders that goes between testosterone and estrogen. So the more we consume inflammation from these seed oils and stuff, it can increase the aromatase activity, which is testosterone. Now it's converting into estrogen. And how many people are like, I'm estrogen dominant? This may worsen estrogen dominance from there, which drives up hormonal acne, because I see more estrogen imbalance acne than I see testosterone, just putting it out there. And I see a lot of acne every day, all day, sometimes on Sundays, right? So it alters then that cell membrane, that fluidity, and that's going to impact how your hormones communicate with your skin cells. Now we have a mismatch.
So as we know, right, seed oils are going to be really hard on the body, hard on our skin. And instead of opting for these seed oils, there are alternatives. So as you're running out of things, let's maybe opt for an extra virgin olive oil, an avocado oil, a coconut, a flaxseed. These are going to be typically cold pressed, rich in antioxidants, much lower in omega-6s, and they're not going to be chemically processed, right? So they're actually going to be supporting healthy hormones, fighting inflammation, and helping to strengthen your skin barrier, because remember, our body needs fats to survive. We don't want to be going no fats. We want to be doing healthy fats. And when we're looking at these healthy fats, we even want to take it a step further on how can we be properly utilizing them, because there's something called a smoke point for different oils. And if we go over the smoke point, we're going to be damaging the oils, creating more oxidization, creating more free radicals in the body that we just talked about. So we want to be making sure that we're using at the right smoke point.
Grapeseed oil, example, it does have a high smoke point. So but again, that's an omega-6, right? So we might use it when cooking periodically. It's not about, again, that once in a while thing. But then we go all the way down and they're going to say extra virgin olive oil can be cooked up to about 350. And that's where I disagree. Extra virgin olive oil is best served on cold.
Yes, I like it. Like, it's great for a salad dressing. Extra virgin olive oil, lovely for a salad dressing, for drizzling on after. Things that you also wouldn't want to be heating would be a flaxseed oil or an almond oil. Those are like a no heat oil. They're very delicate. Even like a sesame oil, like an unrefined sesame oil, like that would be like a drizzle afterwards just for like a flavor.
But we don't do that in society. We cook with olive oil. We cook with avocado oil. Like all of these oils, yeah, they can be denatured, right? So I always say, you know what, use a longer time to cook and do it on a very, very low heat if you want to do it.
For your cooking oils, this is where you could be doing things like an avocado oil would be more of a cooking oil. Remember, there's going to be a refined coconut oil and an unrefined coconut oil. There will be a refined avocado oil and an unrefined. So if we're looking at the best ones for high heat, that would be that refined avocado and then the refined coconut oil.
Again, when we talked about it with the GMOs, those derived seed oils, whether it's corn, soy, canola, not only they're sprayed with the glycophosphate, but this is stuff that can penetrate into the earth and last up to 10 years. So in Canada, Roundup has been banned specifically for that glycophosphate. In the States, it's still allowed. But glycophosphate does disrupt that gut microbiome, damages the intestinal lining, right? Weakens the detoxification pathways. That's going to be your liver and gallbladder, all of it. Your gallbladder needs to be able to emulsify the fats in the body, right? So we don't want toxic bile salts in there, because then the toxins are going to build up and they're going to push through the skin. So that's kind of the connection. So when we look at it all, it's going to be dark glass. You're not going to put it near the heat source. You're going to put it wherever, or you keep it in your fridge, right? And you're going to make sure the cap is sealed. You're not transporting it into something else. Even when I make salad dressing, yes, it's in a clear mason jar and I put it into the fridge. However, how often does that fridge have light? Right? These are the small things I just want people to do, right? Just to kind of go, oh, okay, I don't have to live in fear of this.
Mhm. Yeah, looking for your olive oils and your avocado oils in a dark glass. And I generally will keep out what I'm going to use for the few days, and then the rest can get stored in the fridge. And then we're looking for different alternatives because salad dressings are a big one, right? So this is where your extra virgin olive oil is so, so lovely. And go on the KSW blog. We have a bajillion in one salad dressing recipes. They're so super simple to make, and you can keep them in your fridge for a few days so that way you have your salad dressing. If you're a big fan of mayo, instead of opting for like a canola oil based mayo, look for an avocado oil based mayo. You can get Chosen Foods. I'm pretty sure you can get like a bulk size at Costco as well. And that's not heated. You could also make your own if you're feeling up for it. I've made my own mayo before with olive oil, and it was delicious. You just need to have like a mini food processor.
Did we mention animal fats like tallow or
Oh no,
duck?
we didn't. We forgot about the
Because
yeah.
they can tolerate high heat.
Mhm. Yeah, if you are somebody that consumes dairy, opting for grass-fed would be better, and a ghee would be even better, which is a clarified butter.
Yeah, and again, remember, just if you didn't check it last week, please make sure that is sourced grass-fed, organic.
Yeah, like Cris mentioned, you can be getting beef tallow, pork lard, and duck fat, Katie. One of my, best friends, her and her husband are two of our really best friends, and they own an organic farm out in Ancaster in Hamilton. So if you're from the Hamilton area, highly recommend to check out Mano Run Farm. They're an organic farm, and they have, like, their beef tallow and all of those wonderful things there. So if you're in that area, check them out.
Yeah, I think that's good with regards to options. The body knows what to do with these, right? That's what we have to understand is the more we allow man to denature, the less the body understands how to receive. Why we say we like omega-6s, because we do. We just don't like them in balance. Again, we go with the zinc. We go with the magnesium. Now we're going with vitamin E, a little bit different. Vitamin E is going to affect selenium, these types of things. So you see how now we're seeing the same nutrients and minerals and same nutrients and minerals? What if I told you if we got really good at your food and balancing your food that you start to replete these minerals that you don't have to take supplements, right? Because we want your body to be able to wound heal. We want your body to be able to regulate its own sebum. We want your body to be able to calm its own inflammatory process.
And remember, this is also where that balance comes into play. If you're not in a therapeutic protocol, working to self-heal something in the body, having that balance, because you would have to stop eating out, never eat out again, only ever make your own food. And let's be real, for most people, that's not realistic. I am a huge foodie. Going out for dinner is one of my favorite things to do. I know they're using unrefined oils and they're probably putting sugar in the marinades or whatever. I don't stress about it because for me, that's part of that balanced approach that I take when I go out. I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm even going to share with you one of my guilty pleasures are French fries. I don't eat them out often, but if I'm at like a festival, and let's be real, your options at festivals are pretty limited, I will be getting some French fries. Yeah, you want to know? We actually went to a music festival. We go to a music festival every summer in Toronto Veld, and a few years ago when we went, the only food vendor that was there was a poutine truck. Cris, I swear to God, there was 25 poutine trucks in a row lined up. Those were your options. You weren't getting anything else. It was just poutine at this festival. How Canadian.
Yeah, how Canadian. How very omega-6.
How very omega-6. So there, of course, there are going to be instances where you're not going to be perfect. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And when you have control over that in your home, that's where we want to be taking advantage.
Yeah, so just start chipping away at it. That's called lifestyle.
All right, guys, another episode here at the Clear Skin Chronicles. Remember, as always, you need help with your acne. We are always here in the Clear Skin Solution. Check the show notes, and then we will see you next week for another episode.